Alright everybody, welcome to another episode of Psycho's Platters, always powered by coffee each and every time. I hope that everybody is doing very, very well. What is the mighty Psycho going to go off and do today? Oh, you betcha. We're going to do another episode of that future award-winning series, Jukebox From Hell. That's right. Episode 29 for your scorecards. But let's briefly talk about the previous episode, episode 28, where we ended up exploring the 1998 album from number 2, W.O., which is Rob Halford, John Fave, and Trent Reznor, executive producer. And, if you have not had a chance to see that particular episode, please do. I think you might learn a thing or two, and just like I did. But this time, we're not talking about that. We're going to be talking about an excellent 70s band that, by 1988, well, wasn't exactly doing like they should. We're going to be talking about Monsoon from the Little River Band. That's right. Now, this here was released in May of 1988. This is the 10th studio album from the band. A little strange story to this one, though, okay? So Irving Azoff's had a storied, checkered past, if you will, in regards to lots of groups of musicians. Eagles are probably the top one, but I know that he also was involved with REO Speedwagon and Dan Fogelberg and a few other people over the years, the last decades. So he was the head of MCA Records, though, at the time, before this release in 1988. Irving wanted Little River Band on his label. Now, the album before this was called No Rains, which was in 1986 and put out on Capitol Records. That was the last Capitol outing that they did. John Farnham, he went off and he was the singer of the band from 1982 to 86 after Glenn Shirok left. And then Farnham pretty much just left amicably in 86 to make that iconic album Whispering Jack. Okay, so he ended up doing pretty good there too. Now, I don't know about you guys if you're Little River Band fans, but I don't know. I just didn't seem to warm up too well to the John Farnham years, okay? I tried, believe you me. He's not bad. It's just something seemed a little off during those couple albums, at least in my opinion. Anyway, so Irving, though, goes off and he manages to get back Glenn Shirok on vocals and Derek Pellicci on drums. He was gone too for a little while. Now, Glenn left in, like I said, in 82, and Derek left in early 84. The previous album, as I described, No Rains, was released in May of 86. This was the OG release of Face in the Crowd, which is another track on here. It was recut for Monsoon. No Rains charted only in Australia, number 85. Now, Monsoon charted number 9 on the Australia charts. And as far as for the US is concerned, Love is a Bridge, which is what this album is pretty much known for, made it to number 18 on the Billboard Adult Contemporary charts. Sure, I know what I'm talking about. Not enough coffee per se, okay? So your usual suspects here on this particular album are Glenn Shirok on vocals, Graham Goebel also on vocals, Stephen Houston on lead guitar, Wayne Nelson on bass and lead vocalist on Inside Story, and Derek Pellicci on drums, among other sessioneers. Now, on a record collecting standpoint, let me show you this. This is the front, this is the back. This is a gold stamp promo. I didn't even know, truthfully, that this album existed on vinyl, okay? I have seen copies of The Net, Playing to Win, No Rains, but I didn't know that Monsoon was in this too. This is what you're going to be looking like, all right, for your MCA Rainbow. A little different, of course, at the time, blue instead of the old school black from the 70s. But so let's get into the meat and potatoes, if you will, of this particular release. So we start out with track 1. It's Cold Out Tonight. What a great way to begin this album. After listening to this album completely, I thought, why was this not a single? It would have worked. Track 2, Parallel Lines. Another really good song with nice harmonies and great guitar. Love is a Bridge, track 3, which is the single off of here. Beautiful love song. Like I said, it made it to number 18 on the Billboard Adult Contemporary charts. Track 4, The Rhythm King. It's a little bit of a different song, but cool nevertheless. Track 5, Face in the Crowd, which I mentioned that this was originally on the LP No Rains from '86. It's about performing and reaching out to the fans and picking out one that hopes they will be at the backstage door after the show. It's a neat song. Track 6, A Cruel Madness. I love the way we start out with the harmonies. You know, I have to tell you truthfully, the harmonies is a signature of the Little River Band sound. Now, I've discussed this with different music type people over the years, but at least in this man's opinion, I think the Little River Band was kind of sort of like the Australia's answer to the Eagles. All right, I mean, heck, even Glenn Frey toured with the Eagles around this time frame too, when this tour came out. Track 7, Inside Story. This one Wayne's singing on, a really cool song, slinky song, excuse me, about pretty much the press getting into other people's business when they really shouldn't. Still happens today though, doesn't it? Track 8, Son of a Famous Man, a really cool mid-tempo rocker with great harmonies. Track 9, Soul Searching. Really digging this too. I could have seen this as a single also. Now, in Australia they released 3 singles and Soul Searching was one of them. But I think in the US they should have released, like I said, I could see Soul Searching being one. I could see It's Cold Out Tonight. I think they should have put either of those out before Love is a Bridge, but hey, what do I know, right? Track 10, Great Unknown. A nice slinky funky number at times, but a really good song. And then we close out the album with track 11, Shadow in the Rain, and it's a really good rocker to end this thing. So afterwards, oh boy, there was a tour for this, I'm told. I tried to look that up. Next, though, for the band, they'd be recording in '88-'89 for their April 1990 album, Get Lucky, on MCA. And John Boylan produced this album, too, and Boylan has a past with the LRB in the late 70s, pretty much. Diamond Tea Cocktail and Under the Wire, but that was like the last time, so we're talking about a good 10 years before we get John back in here. But guess what? Unfortunately, it's a one-off because he's out as producer for Get Lucky, and it only made it to number 54 in Australia. Now, currently, as this is being taped on Christmas 2023 here, Wayne Nelson is the only member of LRB with past ties that still tours under that name. Now, what I mean by that is that he joined in 1980, and he is on all of the 80s and early 90s material. He goes away for a while and then comes back around, I think, 2000, if I remember right. So, and then Glenn Shirok, he left in 1998. Graham Goebel left in 92, and Derek Polici left in 99, which after Derek's leaving pretty much left Stephen Houston, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, the last one standing in regards to getting to own the trademarks and the name Little River Band after several court battles with original members. Now, politics aside, personally, I don't think that's right. There are many, many videos from different members' standpoints on that whole issue, which we're not going to get into because, geez, that would be another 15 to 20 minutes. But that's what you're looking at this point. So, you know, are you a Little River Band fan? Okay, I was, but I'll confess, the last album that I bought brand new was The Net back in 1983. And then I didn't find out about this album until a couple of years ago. I ended up finding this little baby a couple months ago. And so I'm glad I did. I tell you right now, if you are a Little River Band fan and you kind of want that 70s, early 80s sound, you're going to get it here. Okay? It's a very nice, enjoyable, pleasant album. I really, really wish that they would have succeeded, you know, here in the States. At least in Australia, like I said, top 10 album there, right? But this was kind of their last burst of glory, really, over there even, which is kind of a shame, for God's sakes. Did you end up getting this album when it first came out in 1988? What's your favorite song off of here? If you're a Little River Band fan, what's your favorite album or song from Little River Band? I've got a bunch, you know. A lot of different people had different things. Reminiscing was one of John Lennon's favorites. I think it's one of mine too, to tell you the honest truth, along with Night Owls and Man on Your Mind, and there's just a Cool Change. Just a whole bunch of fun. But you know what, like I said, if you don't have this, get this, all right? Now, as far as for, there was a CD release. I had to look on Discogs for this, but not an American CD release. I did not see a US CD release for this. There was one from Europe, and it pretty much matches the same 11 tracks. There's no bonus tracks on that CD. So, you know what, kids? We are about finishing up season 3 of Jukebox From Hell. That's right. So, what will be the season finale, episode 30 of Jukebox From Hell, you may ask? I told you guys that this was going to be a groaner, and this is going to be a groaner. We start out here, we're going back way to 1965. 65, I said. East Coast, U.S. Oh boy. Well, bunches of different people over the years became a fan of this band. Frank Zappa even played a couple cuts of the album from their first album on Dr. Demento's radio show back in the day, and he said, quote, that this band was bigger than the Beatles. Oh boy. We are going to be exploring the Shags. That's right. The Shags. Will this be worse than the Yoko Ono episode? Ooh. Anyways, I'm so bad. So, let me ask you something, all right? Have you been enjoying the series that we've been doing now for almost 30 episodes? I hope so. If there's a few you didn't get a chance to see, go back and go take a look at them. You might have some fun and you'll learn some things too. Like I said, I have a request book. Do you have any requests that you'd like to see for future episodes of Jukebox From Hell? Please place them in the comments. I'm hoping maybe sometime in the spring we're going to do some mild improvements to this show too, so that it's a win-win-win for everyone. And like I said, today is Christmas. Hopefully everybody's having a Merry Christmas, and I want everybody to have a great New Year coming up in 2024. You know, it's got to be. We have to have a better year, right? This year was something else. So, all right, guys. As usual, always powered by coffee, each and every time. That's the mighty Psycho promise. I want everybody to take care. God bless. Rock on. And you know what? We'll see you for the Shags next time.